Hey, what's up everybody? This is Osterberg501 and today I want to go over the upcoming patch for New World, which is going to be patch 1.0.5 that hopefully is going to fix a lot of the major issues going on in the game right now. And I'm just going to go over some of the stuff I found more important. So first off, we have coin sellers. They're essentially just banning and suspending more of these accounts, trying to keep the gold sellers out of general chat. And then they're adding restrictions so you can't player-to-player trade if you're under level 10 and your account is less than 72 hours old. And that's not going to be in playtime, that would just be how old your account is, to hopefully try to cut down on the amount of gold selling and real money trading going on. Then they fix some exploits. So fix a bug where players were able to duplicate items via storage sheds and crafting stations, and fix the issue of gold duplication on territory projects we introduced by disabling trading, and made sure it would not occur in the future should we need to disable trading again. So essentially what happened with this was when they disabled trading, if a company that owned a territory tried starting an upgrade project, so to upgrade one of the crafting stations, it would essentially just give the money back from starting that upgrade, and it also wouldn't start the upgrade. So essentially you could just keep restarting these upgrades and it would keep giving you the currency it would have cost to start these, but it wasn't actually starting them and using the currency. So next up, we have some pretty big combat changes. So reduce the attribute respec coin cost by 60%. So this is respecing your stats, and at max level this was 500 gold, which was way too much. Now it's being reduced down to 200, which is a much more manageable gold cost, and this will allow you to use multiple different builds much more consistently, which is kind of how the gearing in this game is built towards. This will also help you be able to earn more gold because you're able to respec more freely to get the different perks from the different attributes for gathering and not have it be as much of a gold hit. Then reduce weapon mastery respec as-off cost by 75%. Now if your weapon was level 20 weapon mastery, which is the max level, it would be 200 as-off. Now it's down to 50 as-off, which again is much more manageable. And this one was much more ridiculous in my opinion because you can only get up to 1,000 as-off on a cap, and once you add in fast traveling with that, you would very rarely have people trying out different weapon builds, which also turns everybody into using the same exact builds because they don't want to try out and test out different builds because it just costs so much to try it. And then we have a really bad change, which is something I called out when I went over Outpost Rush in one of my videos. To encourage competition in Outpost Rush, we slightly reduced the coin and as-off rewards for the losing team. So essentially, if you lose, you're going to get less gold than you were getting before from losing and less as-off. The as-off isn't a massive deal depending on how much they reduce it, because if you go do 4 or 5 matches, your as-off is capped anyway, but the coin reward, depending on how much they reduce it, can be a pretty big hit. This is essentially nerfing the overall amount of rewards that can be earned in a single Outpost Rush, which I did say there was most likely going to be a nerf for Outpost Rush knowing Amazon. Hopefully it's not too big. I personally don't think they really needed this that much. I don't think the game mode itself is that balanced, even though it is really fun. So I don't think really punishing people for losing this, especially with how much glitches and exploits there currently are, really makes that much sense. Then identical weapon equipping. Players can no longer equip the same weapon types in both weapon slots. Essentially, this is to stop the occurrences of people using 2 weapons and being able to pretty much fully automatic shoot like fire staffs or life staffs, stuff like that. I don't really think there's a massive issue with this, I guess, unless people wanted to use a single weapon and they had 2 of that same weapon with really good stats, but I don't think this is going to be a massive deal. Hopefully it actually fully fixed like fully automatic fire staffs and life staffs and stuff like that. Then group scaling passives. Fix issues which could cause passive effects that scaled on the number of nearby foes, such as Bloodlust with Great Axe, which doesn't do that, Against All Odds with the Hatchet, and Outnumbered with the Warhammer to apply incorrectly. This is a really big change. This is what was causing the Hatchet to get 300% damage increases. The Warhammer had 2 other talents I went over in one of my glitch videos that would permanently stack on you. I never did the Warhammer one. I didn't actually know about the Warhammer passive, or I forgot about it. Not sure how strong that was. but Bloodlust doing that same thing is kind of weird. I'm wondering if this is actually going to fix it, because it actually doesn't work off of scaling off nearby foes. It's essentially just looking at a singular enemy, and then it would randomly be permanently applied to you. So we'll see if that's actually fixed. Then we have another big one, which was compounding the issues with the hatchet, damage stacking, spell strike consistency, fix issues which cause several magic spells such as Ice Storm and Gravity Well not to hit consistently. So I'm wondering if this is actually going to fix all of them, because if you guys don't know, the Fire Staff and the Ice Gauntlet from last patch got completely broken, and their abilities just wouldn't do damage vast majority of the time. Pillar of Flame for the Fire Staff wouldn't hit 80% of the time. Incinerate when it hit like 99% of the time. Ice Storm either wouldn't hit at all or would do one tick off the Ice Storm and then not hit anything. And like I said, this compounded the issues with the stacking hatchet, because then people like me who were doing a Fire Staff Ice Gauntlet build since I hit 60 had to switch to something else because those weapons were just useless. And most people probably used hatchet or great axe at some point during leveling, so it just compounded to everybody using this. Then another massive change, the Resilient item perk, fix an issue that causes perk to reduce all damage instead of just damage from critical hits. So if you guys don't know what this was, there's a perk that would reduce the critical damage you take by like 4.5% if I'm not mistaken, at least on 60 gear, and it was only supposed to reduce it from crits, but it was just reducing all damage. And this is what was a big part of causing Void Bent armor to be absolutely the best armor in the game, and nothing comes close, because you would get that heavy armor with the already increased damage reductions. You would get all the resilient perks on them that reduce damage by 4.5% each armor piece. Then everybody would use Onyx gems, which would give I think 65+% damage reduction at all times. So this is going to be a massive change. We'll see if this actually makes Void Bent armor not god tier and everything else trash compared to it. Then we have some more pretty big Outpost Rush changes. So fix an issue that was allowing players to get out of the starting fort before the match starts, which I went over in a video. Essentially, if you were on the specific starting side for Outpost Rush, you could just climb up a few things and get out of the starting area before the match started. So you could essentially go kill enemies, go gather, go capture points before anybody else could get out. And only one side was able to do this, so it was twice as bad, because at least if both sides could do it, it could be slightly more even. Then they also prevented multiple players from interacting with the altar in Outpost Rush, which will prevent players from getting multiple summon tokens per 500 Azoth. So essentially what this was is you can go turn in the in-game Outpost Rush Azoth, 500 of them, and then you would get a brute token, which is the big elite brute that you can go summon by the forts. Now, if multiple people were channeling and turning in Azoth at the same time when the token was given to somebody, it would give tokens to pretty much everybody doing it. So you would just have a big group go over there, farm Azoth, all turn in Azoth at the same time, and everybody would get a token. Then they would go summon brutes at pretty much every summon spot by the forts, and those are incredibly strong enemies for defense or attacking, which would almost certainly cause you to win a match. I don't think there was really a way you were going to win a match if they summon like 4 to 6 brutes at every fort. Fix an issue that was causing Battle Bread, the food in Outpost Rush, to be twice as effective as intended. I was going to go over a video on this, but I did want to wait to see if they were going to fix it, which hopefully it's fixed here. Essentially what this was doing is you could go buy this buff food in Outpost Rush for 25 Azoth a piece. There's 3 different ones, but Battle Bread that was saying on the tooltip that it was only giving 10% damage increase to players was actually giving you a 40% damage increase and a 35% damage reduction if I'm not mistaken. And that would also work once you left Outpost Rush as well. So you could just have these massively ridiculous buffs. And in Outpost Rush, if you were using this food with Void Bent armor, you would basically take no damage from anything. And this was essentially creating unkillable people that would use the life staff and some secondary weapon, put a heal under them, and they would essentially become unkillable because it would just take almost no damage per hit and be instantly healed up by their heal on the ground. So it's pretty much all of the patch notes I want to go over. There are still a ton of stuff that is not being addressed in this. There are some of the really big issues being addressed though, and hopefully this patch doesn't create more bugs than it's going to fix, which has pretty much happened in every other significant patch for the game since it was released. It's one of the biggest issues is that they will fix one bug and then 2 bugs will sprout up from them trying to fix that one. Hopefully that doesn't happen, because half of the bugs bugs that they are fixing in this patch were something that were created with the last patch or the patch before that. So hopefully a ton of new bugs don't sprout up from fixing some of the bugs they're fixing in this patch. I'm not sure if this is going to bring a lot of players back. Looking at the Steam charts, the game is not doing that well. I think it's down to like 300,000 concurrent players in 24-hour periods, which is I think like a 65 to 70% reduction in the amount of consistent players for the game, which isn't looking too good, because then there's also the issue of them not having a ton of content in the game right now, which they can't really add anything in right now because the game's so broken. But we will see once this patch is released, and it should be patching when I'm editing and uploading this video, and it's currently 9:30 a.m. on the 4th. So subscribe if you want to see more New World or other MMO videos. Leave a like if you liked the video. Leave a comment down below what you guys think about this new patch, and thanks for watching.